Sophia Harper sat on the worn-out sofa, the soft hum of her old house filling the silence. She had recently moved to Silverwood, a small town far from the noise and rush of city life. Everything about it felt comforting, until the strange, scratching noises began coming from the walls at night. At first, she had convinced herself it was nothing, but after a few nights, the sound became too frequent to ignore. She needed help, so she called the handyman everyone in town seemed to recommend. Liam Westbrook. His name was whispered in town as the go-to guy for repairs, someone who could fix almost anything. She dialed his number, feeling an unexpected twinge of curiosity. When Liam answered, his deep voice was calm and assured. "Liam Westbrook here. I'm Sophia Harper," she replied. "I've got a strange noise in my walls, and I was hoping you could come by." "I'll be over this afternoon," he said. "I'll figure it out." When he arrived, Sophia opened the door to find a tall, quiet man with tousled dark hair and a simple yet confident demeanor. He offered a small smile, his blue eyes focused and calm, as if he already knew what he was doing. "Hi, I'm Liam," he said, holding out a hand. His grip was firm and warm. Sophia led him inside, where he immediately got to work, pulling out his tools and setting up near the wall. She sat on the couch, watching him closely as he moved around, his hands skilled and quick. There was a quiet intensity about him that she found intriguing. He wasn't just a handyman. He was the kind of man who gave his full attention to everything he did. "So, what exactly are you hearing?" he asked, looking over at her as he worked. "It's hard to explain," she said. "It's like something scratching inside the walls, loud enough to wake me up in the middle of the night." Liam nodded, clearly not surprised. Could be an issue with the pipes or wiring. "I'll take a look." As he worked, there was an unspoken tension between them. Despite the ease with which he worked, there was something in the air that felt different. Sophia couldn't pinpoint it. After a few minutes, Liam stood up, wiping his hands. It was just a small issue with the plumbing. Shouldn't hear anything else for a while. Sophia let out a sigh of relief. "Thank you, Liam. I really appreciate it." "No problem," he said with a smile. He packed up his tools, and the quiet lingered in the room. Before he left, their eyes met for a moment longer than expected, an unspoken understanding passing between them. As he stepped out the door, Sophia stood frozen, feeling a strange flutter in her chest. She wasn't sure why, but something about Liam left her wondering if Silverwood might hold more surprises than she had anticipated. Over the next few weeks, Sophia found herself running into Liam more often than she expected, whether it was at the local cafe, at the market, or even just walking down the street. There he was, always with a friendly smile and a quiet, effortless charm. She had convinced herself she was imagining things, but every time their eyes met, a warmth spread inside her that she couldn't quite explain. One morning, while sitting in her favorite cafe, Sophia overheard a conversation between two locals about Liam. "That boy's been around Silverwood for years," one of them was saying. "Quiet, but he's got a good heart, always helping people out." Sophia found herself wondering about him. What brought him to Silverwood? Was he always so private? She didn't know why she was suddenly so curious about a man she'd only spoken to once, but her mind kept returning to the brief moments they shared during his visit. There was something undeniably intriguing about him. A few days later, she was in town again, and she ran into Liam at the local farmer's market. He was picking out some fresh vegetables when he looked up and caught her eye. He smiled, and without hesitation, he waved her over. "Hey, Sophia," he said warmly. "Good to see you again." "Hi, Liam," she replied, her heart unexpectedly racing. She walked toward him, unsure of what to say next. They talked for a while about the weather, the town, and the usual small talk, but there was an underlying current of something more. When the conversation started to wind down, Liam cleared his throat. I was thinking," he said, his voice a little softer than before. "I've got a couple of repairs to do at the cottage down the street. If you ever need anything fixed around here, you can always give me a call. I might just take you up on that," Sophia said, surprised by how much she wanted to spend more time with him. Liam smiled. Anytime. Their brief exchange left a lingering sense of connection. As they parted ways, Sophia realized she was looking forward to seeing him again. It wasn't just about the repairs. It was something about the way he made her feel at ease, something beyond the casual conversations they had shared. It had been a few days since their encounter at the market, and Sophia found herself thinking more and more about Liam. The quiet way he carried himself, his easy smile, and the way his presence seemed to make everything feel calmer. It all lingered in her thoughts, but she wasn't sure what it all meant. She had come to Silverwood for a fresh start, not to get involved with someone. Then, one evening, Sophia's doorbell rang. She opened it to find Liam standing there, his hands in his pockets, looking at her with a hesitant smile. "Hey, I was in the neighborhood and thought I'd check in," he said. "How's the house holding up?" Sophia felt a flutter in her chest at the unexpected visit. "It's okay," she said, stepping aside. "Come in." Liam nodded and entered, his presence filling the space as he made his way toward the living room. He didn't waste time asking too many questions. Instead, he just set about inspecting a few things around the house that he'd noticed needed attention. The air between them felt different this time, more charged. Every glance, every movement felt heavier than before. When he was done, he turned to her, his eyes meeting hers with an intensity she hadn't expected. "You know," he said slowly, "I've been thinking about how we keep running into each other." Sophia's heart skipped a beat. Yeah, he said, his voice almost a whisper. "I like it. I'd like to see more of you, if you're up for it." Sophia stood still, unsure how to respond. She hadn't expected this moment to come so soon, but as she met his gaze, she realized she felt the same way. The past few weeks had left her longing for something she hadn't allowed herself to want. "I'd like that too," she finally said. Liam's smile widened, and for the first time, there was no hesitation between them. They didn't need words to know that something had shifted between them. And just like that, in the quiet of her home, something that had been building beneath the surface had finally broken through. It wasn't just a repair job anymore. It was the beginning of something unexpected,